Hello, I'd like to show you some stenciling and some masking techniques of animal shapes. So I'll show you how to do this, but I've cut out some stencils. Here's a fish shape, and I've done it with a piece of cereal packet, and it's a really great way of doing lots of drawings, which are nice and easy because you've got the shape, you've cut it out, and if you use probably a colour pencil, that's quite good. You can just work with the shape you already cut out, fill it in with colour, maybe even mix colours, and that's what you get. So you can do lots of fish. I've also done some birds, and I did a horse, which was quite complicated. So I'll show you that again, but attached to the email that I sent everyone out is a sheet with a few suggestions for some basic animal shapes. If you look online, you'll find lots of these. If you look for animal shapes or animal silhouettes, and I've got some cereal packet. I'll do this one a bit bigger, and I thought I would try the shark shape, which is a bit like this. So I'm drawing it out in pencil. This drawing doesn't have to be perfect at the beginning because I can keep changing it. The shark's got a mouth there. It's got a couple of fins down here, and the very important shark fin at the top. It's quite thin at the tail. That's how I would draw the shark. But the shark is one of the animals on the handout that is either on my website, www.damiancallan.com, or attached to this email if I sent you the video by email. There we go. Better get on. You want to see what happens. So you draw it out, and then let's make this easier to manage just by having a slightly smaller bit. Drop off the bottom. So somewhere you've got to cut in to the piece of card and follow your lines. Now this is a cereal packet, and if you struggle to cut things, especially tricky things, you could do the drawing, and you could get maybe somebody a bit older to do the cutting. The small scissors is good because then you can get around the corners. And if you cut anything wrong, hang on to all the pieces, and I'll show you now because I'm going to sellotape the cut I made to get into the bit of card. I'm going to repair it with some sellotape. So if you had any accidents along the way where you chopped off your shark's fin or your horse's leg or something, hang on to all the bits and stick them together again. And you can't, when you start using the stencil, you can't tell if there's been any bits cut off and stuck back on again. And if you can do it in one piece, I'd also encourage you to hang on to the cutout. We'll see what we'll do with that in a minute. So there's my shark stencil, and I'm supposed to have sellotape to hand, but I've put it too far away. So I've just put a piece of masking tape there, but sellotape is fine. It doesn't really matter. All you want to do is make sure that it's all held together. So let's get a nice clean piece of paper and show you what you can do. So sharks are they're sort of a blue-grey. Let's do something with a bit of good colour. So you've got to hold it down. You might get some blue tack to hold it in place, and just put the pencil inside and shade up to the edges. Sometimes I get my fingers near the edge so that as the pencil bounces off it. You can go right up to the edge. The main thing is you just don't want it to move. So again, get some help if necessary to blue tack it in place. This is rather a weak blue pencil. So that's, I think, because it's rather a weak blue pencil, I'm going to try another one. Might have a bit more colour. And that's also a bit weak. So what else have we got? That's a light blue and that's a grey. So let's mix a bit of colour. Did I move it? See, that's a better colour. A bit more. And I think I remember sharks are often a bit more colourful at the top, a bit lighter at the bottom. Let's try a bit of grey. Now you can check at any time if you want. It's a little bit like when you're making prints. Let's make sure I've got that pressed down so the pencil doesn't go under it. What we always do when we make prints in the art classes is we hold one side with our hand and lift it up just to have a look. So that's not too bad. If there's any bit I've missed, I could go over it. Maybe just get a bit more blue. I just wish I'd chosen a better colour, because these pencils just are a bit weak. But I'll show you some others in a minute. So there we go. There's a shark, and I could do lots of sharks. Let me show you the other ones that I did. I did a fish already. You've seen a fish. Well, here's a strange scene. But let's make a composition with a bird of prey flying over here. It's not going to fit on. It's got to be just going that way. And it's flying up above the shark's head. See, this is a better pencil. I'm getting a lot more out of this pencil. I've got to make sure I press it down so that the pencil doesn't slip under the edge of the stencil. And what is quite nice, if you're using colour pencils, it's just quite nice to vary them. Start a bit light, the way I've done there. And I'll lift it off. I can put it back in the same place. There you go. So I didn't do so much to the wing. I did a bit more to this wing. The head needs a bit more. So I can always put this back on, roughly in the same place. I think I should do more to the head. And maybe even get a different sort of pattern for the wings. So I scribble a bit in that direction. So lots you can do. The other thing, of course, I was going to show you, maybe turn over my page, was masking. So stenciling is the cutout, but what about a bit of masking? So if I hold this shark in the same place, again, blue tack might be better, and I shade up to the edge of it. And now that I've done that, I wish I had done something different, which is to do shading in this direction, because I think that will look more like water, going side to side, like that. So we can do that up there as well. Bring that up to the edge of the shark. So what I think you should try is choose some shapes. The fish shape and some of the shapes on the handout that I've shown you there are good to start with. They're easy to draw and they're easy to cut out. And have a go at making some drawings where you put quite a lot of these shapes on the same page, and then try some more difficult shapes and have some of your own ideas. There you go, there's the shark. Maybe this time it'd be quite good to get some of the the blue pencil in. Slightly weaker blue pencil. So there's lots you can experiment with. I've given you a bit of a starting point with simple animal shapes and then maybe getting more complicated, and also as well as using the stencil, try the masking, and then think about the different colours and patterns. I think that's beginning to work a bit better now. If I carry on with my wavy marks, and I could put the mask back on if I didn't want to bump into my shark. And as I showed you before, here's some of the other examples. I'm very keen on the horse. The horse has got an interesting thing. Last thing to tell you, if you look at the horse's leg here, because there's a bit of a triangle between that leg and that leg, if I had brought this all the way along, that piece would have dropped out. So when you make more complicated stencils, have a look at Banksy, more complicated stencils, sometimes you have to have a point at which you hang on to part of the stencil. If there's a risk you're going to end up cutting a piece out. So think about that if you want to do legs crossing over. And I like these horses, and I'm showing you that you can do a horse that way, but I could also do another horse this way. I've put a bit of a stenciled, no, masked horse there, the white horse. And now maybe next to it, I'll do a brown horse going in the other direction. So again, this you can do with your masks and your stencils. You can turn them over and have the same animal shape going in a different direction, use a different colour. So it's a great technique, because once you've made your stencil, and if you've made it with some fairly strong card from a cereal packet, then it will withstand you drawing with it again and again. And if it's got any weak spots, like where that tail is, just put a bit more sellotape on it, repair it if it gets damaged, and keep using it. There we go. So stenciling and masking. Have fun.